cover, and you have to really know where you want to go at the start of the game. It's not one of those maps where you can kind of walk a little bit and then kind of find your place. Like some maps you can do that. With this, you need to know where you're going right at the start of the game. So when you actually have the countdown timer in the middle, really decide where you're going to go before you even like start. And so I'm going to go through all the tanks as I do. So let's get started with the light tanks. The first spot that I'm going to show you is a more active spot. So this you're going to have to keep moving around, and I'd recommend doing this at the start of the game. If there's too many light tanks, as the matchmaker sometimes does put into the game, but that's for a different video about the matchmaking, I don't really want to talk about that now. But if there are a lot of light tanks, and you're all going over here, just don't bother, go somewhere else, go into spot number 2, which I'm going to show you in a second. But right here, you might spot a few people crossing there, but you just want to really just peek over this ridgeline and not expose too much of your tank. As you see, that was probably a bit too much because you're probably going to get shot. But you just want to be peeking. You don't want to be fully going over because chances are like maybe about here, because as long as your turret is actually above the sand dune here, so like this, you'll spot people here. Because you see how your track's kind of just going over? That, you can actually spot people there. And you'll spot anyone that's might be camping here, as long as they don't have, you know, insane camera rating. Then you'll spot people there. You'll spot people, anyone crossing here. And so right on, early in the game, this is really useful for anyone crossing here. And, I mean, you're not going to spot anyone across here, because by the time that you get to here, people are probably going to be about here. So you might spot some people later on, if they are going to be pushing around here. But this spot's really nice for active at the start of the game. Spot number 2 is actually going to the left-hand side. Now, I don't recommend doing this. I mean, you can do this straight away, but the chances are there's more chance of you actually dying over on this position. And the reason being is because quite a few tanks do come over here. And now I will show you the other positions on the other side. But the medium tanks you need to watch out for. Even some heavy tanks for some reason come over here. Lots of people don't really know where to play on this map. You see a lot of camping in the base on this map in particular. So, yeah. But the first thing that you want to do is just go over here. And the same thing, just try and actively spot and just peek up and over. As I said, you know, you want to just be peeking a little bit and then going back down. But people will be around here. It's rare that you'll see another light tank here, as the light tanks will be somewhere else on the map. There's not really any point of a light tank going here, because it doesn't really establish anything that they don't already know. So why I say this is because the medium tanks here will be able to spot, as you can see, only up to around about here. And no one's sniping or anything around here. If they're going to be sniping in the TDs, it'll be back here. So there's no real reason for a light tank to come here. The most that you're going to spot is medium tanks, maybe a few TDs, and heavy tanks. So yeah, this spot's nice, but you can die pretty early, especially if you do have, I don't know, like a wheeled vehicle that comes running up, and he gets to here before you even get to here, for example. So you need to be careful of that, because if you do get spotted, then you can't do the peek. So you could die early in this position, so you just need to watch out for that. And now for what I would say is the ultimate risk. Now, do this if you are that type of risky person. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I don't do it, but people do it. And that is going over here. Now, the risk being you'll get spotted about in this position. So you want to be using this rock as cover, and you can basically shoot or, you know, hit anyone that's going to be pushing up here to try and scout. So you're going to spot the enemy light tank, and if you have 2 scouts, or preferably 3 on this map, you would want 1 scout that just goes up here, 1 scout that goes there, and then 1 scout in the middle here. Then you kind of have vision over the whole entire map. So yeah, you'll spot any scout that comes up here, and I mean, this position, yeah, okay, you can spot this scout, but the other guy up here is going to spot the scout anyway. So that's why I say it's a bit of a risky position, because it doesn't really accomplish anything that this position can't do, apart from the fact that you will be able to spot you have a better chance of spotting people that are camping along here because you're a bit further forwards. And then if you want to, you can go and proxy spot people over here, but be warned, there's going to be people camping up on this rock, and they have easy shots on you, as you can see. So you can proxy detect people around here, but it's a risky position. If you're a person that likes to play actively in their scout tanks, then yeah, this position's nice. Wheeled vehicles, it works because you're going at, 80 kilometers an hour, and you can just zigzag in and out of people's shells. So it could work for wheeled vehicles, EBRs, stuff like that. But again, it's not really worth it too much, considering that you could just go up here and just proxy or even spot people that are trying to push up. Okay, so this side of the map. So let's go to that position that I just showed you. So the reason why that position is a lot more risky than, say, this one or this one is because of this. A scout tank can just go all the way along here, and now he's going to get spotted around about now. Okay? The reason being is that the scout tank might peek up there. It's going to take longer for this base to reach there than this base will to reach there. And by the time that you get to around about here and peek over that ridge, you're going to be spotted by him because he will peek up and he can see you. So, and even if someone's peeking along here, by the time that you peek up over this little mound here, you will spot him, he will spot you. And then once these two are spotted, it turns into a massive just death. It's just a massive suicide battle. Here you actually have a lot of cover to actually protect yourself from this light tank. And if you're going to be actively spotting from here on this side of the map, it's a lot easier than if you're going to be actively spotting here on the other side, because you have all of these locations where people can shoot this light tank for you, and more than likely your heavy's going to go through here. So it's not worth it so much. Well, that's why I said it's so risky for the other side, because you have lots of cover here. You got dips down here, and you're going to spot people that are going over here even from this position. So this position is really powerful for this side of the map, and I would recommend the light tank going here. You just need to be careful of where you can be shot from. So obviously the main points, you're going to get shot from people up here as you go up. So you want to kind of dip into here if you can. It might even be worth you actually starting down here and then coming up this hill and then up here. That could work. Although you're not going to spot the person that is up there or there. So yeah, okay, you're a little bit more safe. But if you do spot the person there and the spot person here, you then know a lot of information before you even get up to that position. And you've spotted two tanks for the trade of just you. So this position's nice, but it depends how you want to play it. Down there, safer. Up here, a bit more risky, but can be a lot more rewarding. Okay, so next spot. Now, I did say about maybe going here, but you can go there. And it's just exactly the same. Peek up there, and you might spot a few people that are moving up to here. But I would actually recommend going somewhere else. Now, it will do the same thing, kind of, although you're not going to be able to spot over here. Now, if you want to, you just go exactly the same route, but obviously over here, straight, follow these roads, and then get to this sand dune, and you're in cover from people over here because you're behind the sand dune. But go this way, and you're still not spotted. This is not a kind of, it's a bit of an unorthodox way of doing this. And people might be like, what is the light tank doing? But if you actually go this way, and then go and just keep peeking up here like this, you're actually going to spot anyone that's sitting behind the sand dune. Now, you could, it depends where you want to peek up, but I'm just doing this for example. And then because you're faster than basically every other tank, you cross here, you're still safe. You might want to cross a little bit sooner depending on what you spot, but then you can go and peek up here. Now, you're a bit later, but you might still spot these slower heavy tanks or medium tanks that are going to be trying to go up there. Now, if you do that, I would say that's the best way of doing it. Rather than going over here, and you've got a very high chance of dying by doing this, because if they decide to push you, for example, you go up here, and then they say, okay, yeah, no, we've got 3 light tanks here. We're just going to push you, kill you. They might lose 2 tanks, but they've just knocked out the light tank that's the only light tank that's over here. Like, it's very easy to kind of lose this position, and once you're here, there's not really much to do. Whereas you go all the way around here and then peek up wherever you want, and then see what's here. And then if there's too many tanks here, then you can decide, okay, let's back off and then try and spot a different location. If you decide that there's too many tanks here, you could actually go all the way around. Let's just go back to where we were. So say you get to around about this location, okay? You peek up. You see that there are loads and loads of tanks there. You know, you got heavy tanks for some reason are over there. But, well, you might choose to have a heavy tank. I don't know. It depends. This map's so all over the place with tank classes, it's unreal. But let's say you peek up here. You see that there's loads of tanks. You don't want to do that. You could then just retreat back. You know, you're still spotted. You've got 10 seconds remaining. But you're still spotted. And as long as you're in a lower profile tank, you're going to be okay. You might take maybe 1 hit. I don't know, maybe. But then you can back off around here. And by this point, you should be unspotted. And you can now go and choose to then peek up here. And you actually spot anyone that's trying to cross over here. Like this. You're getting closer and closer to that ridge line where people might be. And if you just peek along here, you're good. Like, this is a pretty fun part of the map to sit in for a light tank. You've got lots and lots of sand dunes to hide behind. The only thing you need to watch out for kind of is artillery, so don't sit still for too long. But yeah, this spot over here is actually really nice. You're out the way of that death zone there, because if people push and win over here, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. If your team doesn't come here, then you've lost and you're dead right there. Whereas if you're here, you're providing every bit of information for your team that they need to deal with anyone that's over this way. So this sand dune here is what I would recommend you go to. Obviously, if you realize there's no tanks there, then peek. But if there are tanks there when you get to here, then go to this position. Even if your team is going to be backing you up here, just go to this position. It's 10 times better. And just keep doing this. Keep going up and down this sand dune. And just keep trying to spot the enemy that are over here. You know, because eventually people are going to be coming down here. And when they do, your team will want to know about it. Medium tanks. Let's go and show you some positions. So first things first, you can go here. Much like with the light tanks, you're a bit faster. Obviously, if you're a really slow medium tank, then maybe go to position 2 that I'm going to show you. But if you're a faster medium tank, then go to around about here. So straight away, there's two ways you could do this. If you're not the fastest, like the TVP is pretty fast, so I would be pretty comfortable doing this in the TVP. But if you're a slower medium tank, that's not so slow that you go up to here, then maybe you want to take this route, which offers a little bit more cover, but you just want to be peeking around here and just waiting, seeing where the enemy's going to go. More than likely, you're going to meet some people that are over here. You can get shots off on people, and just being around here in general, you're probably going to get proxy detected by the light tank if he comes up here. But that being said, it doesn't really matter too much. You're okay artillery safe as long as you come back behind this sand dune a little bit. You do need a little bit of armor here, so TVP is probably not the best choice, but then again, you know, with this autoloader, you'd bring a TVP here, you could fire off your entire clip pretty fast to anyone that wants to go up this hill. So this can be a very deadly position, especially if you know what your tank's capable of. Okay, position number 2. And this is going to coincide with the position number 1 that I said, where you can go down here. So obviously, just come down here, and this will offer you a lot more cover than going through the middle, which can be quite exposed, especially if that light tank comes up through there. You can get spotted quite easily, and if you're not in a fast tank, you're dead. So come along here, and you would go left and up there if you wanted to go to that position right here. But if you're in a slower medium tank, or you just want to come up here for whatever reason, I mean, both of these positions are great. You come up here, come up this hill, and it's kind of like a secret entrance almost. Now you come up here, you go through the canyon, and then you enter around about here. Now, what I would suggest you do is actually wait here for, I don't know how long, but you come here, wait for your light tank to get spotted, or spot the enemy, and more than likely, they're going to spot anyone that's over here. Having said that, it will take longer for them to come to here than it will for you to come up here, depending on which tank you're in. If you're in a slower tank, it might take you a while to get here, but, they don't have to go up as big hill, so maybe it's going to take them a slightly longer to get to around about here, but you should spot anyone, or your team should spot anyone that does push up here. So just wait, see what is here. A light tank might even come up here for whatever reason. I wouldn't recommend you going up there in a light tank, but just wait here for a few seconds. If nothing's there, then you can progress on, and you could even, just peek over here a little bit, see what's there. If nothing's there, then you can actually progress up, and you want to go into this position here. Obviously, do this once you know it is safe. Don't just rush across here, because if there is any tanks here, then you're going to start being shot. But once you are here, in this position, you're pretty safe, because you've got this massive rock in the way, so that you don't have to worry about that. And then you can start peeking. Be warned, you're going to need a lot of gun depression to go down here, but there should be enemies scattered along here, and then you can just progress up here, shoot anyone that's around here, and then move on, and then flank through here into the enemy's base. So that's position number 2. It works well as long as you have people with you. Don't try and do this on your own, especially in an autoloader, because as soon as your autoloader runs out, that's it, you're going to die. This position is much the same as the light tank position up here, but you don't want to just be peeking. So you run yourself all the way up here, and now you obviously have to be careful at the mid, because you are slower than a light tank, so the chances are the light tank will get through, but chances that you're going to be spotted here, yeah, that's quite high. So once you get behind this, make sure you stay behind the sand dune, as this will provide you lots of cover for anything. Don't ever peek up above this, and chances are you're probably going to be spotted about now. Now, why do I say this? Well, because people will probably be sitting up here, and they can have direct line of sight onto you, so that you'll be spotted. So just wait around here for a few seconds, get unspotted, or if you are in a more heavily armoured tank, and there's only 1 or 2 people there, then you can just push straight over here. But I wouldn't recommend doing this in a light tank when you're spotted, because everything will aim at you. So, but once you're here, you're pretty safe. You're pretty safe in this location, and you can start to battle it out with any other light tanks. Be careful as you crest over here, because you're going to go up and then expose yourself to anyone that is sitting around this location here, so you've got to be careful. But get down into this little dip. You see how it kind of is a V shape almost? Get down into here as soon as possible, and then you can shoot up onto them. Now, bearing in mind, shooting up in this game, people that have the high ground, it only works if they have gun depression. So you're seeing a lot of, strategy videos, or, real war videos. The people with the high ground always win. Not necessarily the case in World of Tanks. If someone has the high ground in this sort of location, it might actually be of a detriment to them, because the fact that they have to aim down, not everyone has an amazing gun depression. If they're in a Russian tank, good luck. Like, if they're sitting up on this ridgeline, or even up here, they're having to aim down. They can only aim down onto your turret, and as long as you have a strong turret, okay, the TVP doesn't really have a strong turret, but say you're in a 430U, okay, and you push this. You have an insanely strong turret. Your weak points aren't even weak points on that turret. So you could just absolutely bully people that don't have enough gun depression to get down onto your hull. And you can just use this ridge as cover to just keep peeking up and down, and then you can go even around here. The only thing that you're going to have to watch out for is people that are going to be sitting up there. But even then, you have a nice little hold down location here where you can see anyone that's there. You can even peek some other locations, like this sand dune. and you can just kill anyone that's there. So that's the other location. Wouldn't recommend going into the middle at all with your medium tanks. It's kind of a death sentence if you do, and this city draws a lot of people into it. For whatever reason, do not go here or here in your medium tanks. It's not worth it. Not unless the situation demands it. By that I mean there's one tank left and you can go there and kill him. Okay, this side of the map. Now, I'm not going to insult your intelligence by driving all the way around there and going up there. I'm pretty sure most of you would know how to drive around there. I even showed you in the light tank, so I'm not going to insult your intelligence and show myself driving up there to that position there. But yeah, drive there, you can actually shoot people around here. But this position is the position I would go if you don't want to go up there. I see so many people camping in this location here, and I don't understand why. Even in medium tanks and heavy tanks, I see people camping in this location. I just don't get it. But here is the location that I would go to. You go to around about here, and this is why I said that you're probably going to get spotted around about here. Because look how much view range you have, and anyone that's going to be crossing into here, they've dived behind that sand dune, they're coming up here, you will spot them. It's a nice location, you can just get easy shots on people that are coming up, and then as long as you're in a decent hold down tank, obviously the 430U wouldn't work too well here because of its gun depression limitation, but you can then peek over here, shoot anyone, and as they cross over, once they come up into this little V location that I said about, then you need to, you know, get away pretty fast. Now, the TVP does have insanely, well, it's not insanely good, but it's good enough gun depression to deal with anyone there. But if it comes back over here, this is what I'm going to be saying, this is what I was saying about when I said about they can't go down onto your hull. If you're back here, look at how much of your tank you have to show if you actually want to shoot them. You know, the TVP has okay gun depression. Look how much of the tank you have to expose to actually shoot them. You know, there's not many tanks. STRV, the STB1, they can maybe go up here and then shoot over. But once you get to this position and they're hull down peeking you, back off, or at least try to back off. As soon as they come into the V, back off. Don't try to, you know, hug the ridgeline like this. You're pretty safe from here. And the best thing about it is, once you get to here, you can set up an ambush. You know, the TVP is pretty tall, but even then, you can shoot some tanks. You can set up an ambush, because you can have your TDs that are sitting over here shoot anyone that you're spotting for over here. So, as long as one person stays alive, and you can, you know, spot anyone that's coming up, your TDs can just do, they can just farm damage right here. Doesn't matter what's coming over that hill, as long as you have capable TDs, which, let's be honest, in some games that's not possible. But as long as you have capable TDs, they can just farm damage. So this position's really nice. It's got lots of opportunities. Much like even on the other side, this position's pretty balanced because you don't have to push this. You know, it's not like you kill everyone here and then you have to push this. You can just back off. You could just go somewhere else. You could, even if you kill everyone here, leave one person here, or whatever. There's always going to be that one person that wants to stay here and just try and shoot the TDs. If you go with your team and get to here, and then you kill everyone that's around here, why don't you back off and go and help the heavy tanks in the middle? I know I said don't do this, but if you're going to do this after you kill everyone here, you stand a much better chance of survival than you would if you went and just didn't bother. Like, there is so much more possibility for you to actually back off, go and help your team, and then you push from this flank and this flank, then you just push in from this flank and then you die. So they're the two spots I said. Obviously, go up there. I didn't show that to you, but you go up there and you just shoot across here. And that is the medium tanks done. Heavy tanks. So let's now go into the middle of the map and let's see what this is all about. Now, this is where I would recommend the super heavy tanks go. But be warned, you go into the middle map and you're on your own and you don't really have anyone to spot for you, you know, like around here or around here. it's not going to be such a fun time. Only go to the middle of the map if you are going to be with other heavy tanks, because this is an artillery's dream spot. You know, around here, you can just... It is around here. You know, you shoot people here. Sometimes you can get into here. It depends on the tank. Be warned, if you do get into this spot here, you're going to be meeting people here, so you're going to be proxy detected. And if anyone is up there, they have easy shots, you know, from around here that can just be pushed onto you. But if they are going to be shooting from there, usually in this next position that I'll show you, you can easily farm these people. And that is, you just go up here. This is where I like to go in my 277. Because if you go up here, you actually have this little bit of a ridge line that you can shoot people from. So you just go from around about here, and you just back off. And here, your hull is exposed, like so. And you look something like that to the enemy. Obviously, they can shoot you there, but because this is sloped up as well, that's more like 250-ish penetration that they're going to need, which isn't too bad for most tanks, but you keep peeking and keep going like, okay, let's shoot, fall back, and then you wait to reload, then you peek again. You keep doing that. It's going to be so annoying for the person sitting over there. I once had a 260 that was sitting over there, and a bat chat, and I just kept doing that. He kept bouncing his shots because I was angled like this, and because the 277's frontal plate is not got the pike nose, it just pings off. Because you're at an angle, they miss or hit the hull armor, you just keep peeking, keep putting the shots in. So that way, you're then protecting your Type 5 Heavy, Mouse, whatever, might be sitting around here, you know, really battling it out with the other tanks here. But the only thing that you do need to watch out for is, of course, artillery. They have a direct line of fire basically everywhere around here. The only place that they don't have line of fire is in this little location here. So you can back off if you need to reload and you're in a big heavy, you know, Type 5 Heavy or Mouse. Or it's around here. So maybe if you do lose that position, you fall back to around here. And you can continue to fight. It doesn't really matter too much. You know, like this is all they're going to see. Like they're just going to see your turret with the gun over it. And you can then farm people that are coming around that corner. So you can fall back to this. There's lots of locations that you can fall back to. You know, if this gets overrun, you could even fall back to there if you wanted to. But you are then exposed to artillery. So most of the time I would recommend you hug this ridgeline. The next location, a bit more risky. But you come down here, and obviously heavy tanks are a bit slower. So you don't really want to be doing this in a very, very slow heavy tank. That's why I say, you know, Mouse, Type 5 Heavy, just go to the middle of the map. Because you will be artillery safe all the way until you get to about there. But if you're in a 277, maybe even an IS-7, then you can afford to do this. WZ-5A, for example, can do this as well. But you just want to be pushing around here. Now, the chances of you getting spotted are a hell of a lot higher. But you want to be pushing to this mosque. I believe it's a mosque. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But it looks like a mosque to me. But once you're here, this mosque is complete solid cover. So you could just go here. And as long as, you know, you're okay with moving back to here, don't over-peak the back of your tank because you're just going to get slammed by anyone that's sitting there. But around about here, you can keep shooting people that come through here. And you will also proxy detect anyone that's sitting around here. So you can then peek up here, for example, and spot anyone that's on those sand dunes. It's a pretty nice location. You're not probably going to get as much damage as you would if you went here. It's a lot more of a risky location to be. And if you don't really know everything about your tank, like how much gun depression you can actually do in the tank, how fast your tank is, the best bet is just to go to the middle of the map. You know, this is for people that really do understand their tank and know how to actually use the tank effectively. Because there's no point you coming here in a Type 5 Heavy that takes you 10 years from the base to get here and then you just die because everyone's just going to fire gold rounds at you. So, and not only that, you kind of need a low profile tank. If you're in a higher profile tank, you might even get, you know, stuck on these arches. It's not for every tank, this location. So if you know, try it out. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much if you win or lose in World of Tanks in a public game. So try out different locations, see what works for you, see what works in different tanks for you, and then just If it works, great. If you die, try a different one. You know, as much as people might say, oh, noob team, so bad, why you go over here? If it doesn't work, don't do it again. But if you're doing it for the first time and you're just trying something out, then just do it. It's not going to matter, really. Are you really going to think about this loss in a week from now? No. You know, it doesn't matter if you win or lose a game in World of Tanks at the end of the day. So just try different things and experiment. From the other side of the map. Now, I will say, heavy tanks can go up here and up here. Exactly the same routes as the mediums, but I wouldn't do it in a slow heavy tank. Actually, in an IS-7 and a 277 around here is actually a nice position to be in. But you just got to be careful that you don't get caught out when you are, you know, pushing around. But from the other side, you could push up here. You could even, if you're in a really fast heavy tank and no one else has gone here, you could do the job of the light tank. You could peek up here quickly. You could go peekaboo and then peek anyone, spot anyone that's around there. You will probably get spotted yourself, so obviously bear that in mind. But if you want to be, you know, in a mouse or whatever, then you can just go straight here and try and battle it out. Now, this spot is safe from artillery, as long as you don't peek out too far, and as long as the artillery isn't all the way over there. Because if they're all the way over where I'm pointing, you see how it's like there? If they're just next to this ridgeline or this mountain, then they can hit you from here. So you need to be careful of that. But, you know, if you just keep peeking backwards and forwards, you know, getting behind this rock, you'll be okay from artillery. The other spot is by the mosque again, but instead of going down there, you'll just go along here. It does offer you some cover. You probably won't get spotted until a bit later on, so around about, even now, maybe now, you'll get spotted. Especially if there's a light tank that peeks you. So from about that time, you would have been spotted by the light tank. But you just come around here, be careful of any heavy tanks, they could shoot you. That's why you use these buildings as cover. And you can come right here, and you're pretty safe. Be warned. You see how there's a gap there? People can feather shots through that. So you need to be careful of that. So don't go back too much and then sit here and then you wonder, how am I being shot? There's a massive tower in the way. No, they can still shoot you through there. So you got to be careful of that. Although, if they do want to shoot you, they're going to have to be pretty high up to actually be able to do that. So you come here and you battle out with the tank that's sitting around here. Keep going backwards and forwards. You have lots of support if anyone's up there. And this is a pretty safe spot. It's a lot safer than that spot there. But, you know, and if you really want to, you can go and kill people that are around here. It's not amazing, but, you know, you got shots on people down there. Why not use it? I will say, if you want to shoot anyone here, you're not going to have enough gun depression until you get to about, you know, here, which isn't so fun. So, yeah, let's be honest. You want to be shooting people that are around about there. So if people are falling back to that position, you know, you got shots on them. You even got a bush in the way, so that might stop you from being spotted. It depends. It should, because you're double bushed, but even so, I would make sure that you go back a little bit to about here and then shoot. Then you shouldn't be spotted. But let's move on to TDs. TDs. So in this map, you can camp a little bit. Now, there's a few spots you can be in. The first spot is going to be over here. Now, from here, you can actually spot quite a fair amount. Well, I say spot. You're going to be able to see quite a fair amount of the map. Now, all you have to do is just sit around here, and anyone that wants to try and peek over here, again, they're going to have to come from here to here, but you might be able to shoot the light tank, for example, as he peeks over. Anyone that comes into the middle, so light tanks that come into the middle, you can easily shoot them. Heavy tanks that overextend and try to push up into the middle here, again, you can have nice shots on them. And of course, if that entire flank has fallen, you're then going to have nice shots on people that are over there coming down through the hill. Or alternatively, from there coming down. So that's this spot. It's quite useful. Would I recommend going there at the start? Yeah, maybe. You could go here, quickly have a little look here, see if anyone's there. If not, take a quick peek over here. No one. If not, go to position number 2, which I'll show you now. So position number 2, which isn't too far, you just got to go this way instead of going that way at the cap circle. Now from here, you're going to have some nice shots onto TDs. Now from here, you're going to have some really, really nice shots onto the enemy heavy tanks. So if they are peeking this corner, then you're going to have really nice shots straight into them as long as you're up here. Now, you shouldn't get spotted because where you're shooting is around about here. As you can see, there's a lake, and there's the other bit of the lake, and then it's just to the right of that. So it's around about here-ish that you're shooting, and as you can see, your view range is going to be here. So for them, it's going to be exactly the same, but you'll be just out of their view range. So this position does work. It's pretty nice. You can farm a lot of damage. Obviously, you're not going to be able to shoot people up there unless you know that they are there. Then you could try a blind shot. But at the same time, it might not even reach the target. So, as you can see there was no detection that it hit. And some shells do only go a certain distance before they don't render in anymore. So, it's a bit harder to tell if you actually hit the target or not. But these are the two main positions that I would suggest going to. Especially for this side of the map. You could go up there, although you're starting to get into the area where you're a lot more exposed and you can be spotted from. From here, you're pretty safe. As you can see, even the mosque, you can't be spotted from. It's only if someone pushes all the way up to here in the middle. I mean, you even have shots at the middle. So, as I was saying, you don't really have shots over here, though. So, go there at the start. And then maybe fall back to this if there's no shots over there. So, but these two spots are pretty nice for TDs. And that one, yeah, it's great for shooting up there. But if you actually move forward slightly, you can actually get a little bit of a nicer position for anyone that's trying to come down. For example, if they peek over here and then go to there, you can actually shoot them still all the way here. As you can see where my line of sight ends. It's just out the map. But around here, you can have shots on people that just come over this peak. And, of course, you can shoot anyone that's around here, but you will get spotted, be warned. This side of the map, main two spots, here and here. They're the main spots that you want to be. If you're in a faster tank destroyer that has a little bit of armor, say something like an SU-130, not an SU-130, sorry, an SU-100M. That could maybe go around here, or even up there. You know, that sort of TD can go different places. But main ones that you want to be around here. You can shoot anyone that tries to peek over that ridgeline over there. And even from here, if you just go into this bush, you can shoot any heavy tanks that want to be pushing around this corner. So once this heavy tank falls, or if this side falls, you can have great shots onto anyone sitting around here. The next spot is up there. Now, straight away, these aren't too far. So you could start off the game, go into that bush, and then shoot anyone that's there, or even in the mid, and then fall back to here, or alternatively, you could just start up here. It doesn't really matter too much. Also, that bush over there, right there, that will be able to spot anyone that is going to be trying to push over here, and also you have a great line of fire on them. So if you lose up here, then maybe move to around here and start shooting people. But this position right here is probably the best position to actually shoot the heavy tanks at. As you can see, look at the amount of view you have. Like your FOV is massive. And you could just shoot. If you're in a TS5, I'd actually recommend going here. Because you're a frontally very, very well armored tank. So you're in a TS5 or even a Tortoise. You know, you sit up here. And you can just dominate people because they won't have as much penetration, especially if they're using AP, because AP does lose penetration over distance. Albeit, yeah, okay, you don't lose that much. But you're approaching, you know, what's that? That's about 400 meters. You know, so you're going to lose a little bit of penetration, or they're going to lose a little bit of penetration, sorry. So you can kind of afford to just sit here and just shoot people right there and just farm them. So this spot is really nice for TDs, and as I was saying about if you lose this side and you have your TDs here to just... Oh, apparently I want to mount the rock. But if you want to actually just sit here and let your TDs farm people that are going to be over here, again, the tortoise in this position will be pretty good. So you could go up here with a tortoise and just farm people right here. And then later on in the game, if you lose this, you just move over a little bit and just farm people over here. So this position for a tortoise or something like that is actually pretty decent. It's going to take you a while to get up this slope. But once you do, this is a nice position for those tank destroyers that are really well armoured. But not so well armoured because the tortoise, the TS5, has cupolas. You can hit it. It's obviously a lot harder to do so at distance. So you want to try and keep your distance-ish. But still being able to at a safe distance so you can still pump those shells in. So now you should know everything you need to know about Sand River. These videos do take a while to make, so leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video or find it useful and interesting. And I will see you in a bit.